lost on the dusty air. A finger on the trigger and a sly little grin. A mystery that's tangled in the towns of sin. The wild bunch whispers as the saloon doors swing. The yellow rose of Texas, she makes the gold rain. From Boudoirs to Brothels, it's always the same. The money and the power play a dangerous game. With a pistol in her gutter and a plan in her mind, she's the queen of the West, leaving dust trails behind.
Here with Country Diggers. Welcome to the Speakeasy. Today we're going to go into a new book called Boudoirs to Brothels. The Intimate World of Wild West Women by Michael Rutter. I picked this one up in Arizona, so I thought it might be interesting. So we'll get into that. I think today I'm going to read about Calamity Jane. So stay tuned. All right, the tragedy of Calamity Jane. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Calamity Jane, whose real name was Martha Jane Canary, was the unquestioned heroine of pulp fiction and dime novels. While galloping her horse, she could shoot a match head from a man's clenched jaw, rescue a baby on a mountain road before a runaway stage went over a cliff, or show up to fight off some martyring Indians and save a wagon train of pioneers. She was an unorthodox woman of the West who could do a man's work. Calamity wore men's clothing and carried guns. Her feats were non-parallel. This frontier woman could skin a team of mules and ride a wild Mustang. In print, she was a hard-riding, hard-drinking, and quick-shooting woman. She would cuss and swear, but she was a defender of truth and righteousness. The true story of Calamity Jane, however, was the antithesis of her fictional persona. Martha Jane's real life was colorful, but it was closer to a tragedy than an adventure novel. Her story is clouded by folklore and mythology, but she's one of the few women in the West we can get a focused picture of if we do a little digging. The real Calamity was the sort who would buy drinks for the house, but she was also a low-end prostitute, a crib girl, they were called, a drunk, a vagabond, and a blowhard. She was loud and obnoxious when she was drinking. Whatever money she earned as a showwoman, whether she worked for Buffalo Bill or other Western projects, was quickly drunk or lost gambling. Because she had such a problem with alcohol and was so belligerent when drinking, she never stayed employed long. This was unfortunate since several of her business opportunities could have set her up for life. Mostly Martha Jane was impoverished and regularly went to bed hungry. She struggled to keep a roof over her head and resorted to selling her body to stay alive. Most of her prostitution experiences were in low-end cribs or houses where the men were desperate and the prices were cheap. In spite of her tabloid persona, prostitution was her go-to profession. Calamity Jane mostly lost when she gambled, but the real monkey on her back was drink. She had been an alcoholic for decades. This was a far cry from the Calamity Jane written about in papers and in dime novels. She had a streak of feminism and independence long before such things were fashionable. But she also had a secret desire to be a wife and have a happy home with children. She invented her relationship with Wild Bill Hickok, also fabricating that he was the father of her child. Naturally, Wild Bill wasn't able to set the story straight because he was dead when Jane spread the rumor. She was considered a homely woman in her day. In many of the pictures we have of her, she was in men's clothing. This was in part to perpetuate her image for writers and journalists, since she actually preferred a dress to pants and a wool shirt. She swore like a cowboy and was a tolerably good shot, although not the crack shot of legend. She was uncomfortable in all the traditional roles she was asked to play, never doing one thing or staying in one place for long. That seems like a sad life. It's really different from what I've read of her. It's really different. Like, she was this crack shot, you know. She went with the Wild West show and everything, and it is kind of different in this book, anyway. Seems like she led a very sad life. But anyway, Calamity Jane. And also, the stories in this book are kind of long. This was just a little snippet. And I'll put a picture up of Calamity Jane, so you can see how she looked and everything. But since these stories are a little longer, I might split them up and do like part 1, part 2, like that. But yeah, they have little snippets of stuff like the Calamity Jane one too. But anyway, hope you enjoyed and see you back again.